Well, this is Red Barn again, and we're going to do something completely different. I'm outside the barn in my new pole shed. Well, not a pole shed, beam shed I built 2 years ago. I got a, you can see it over there, I'll zoom in later, a WoodMaxx DC 160, 13 horsepower wood chipper. It's got a, I don't know, 12 by 6 opening on it. Because you've seen my videos outside, you know I've got a lot of timber and I've got a lot of limbs. In fact, I have 2 cords of just strictly limbs from 1 inch up to about 4 inches piled up on the back side of the property, covered up. But I wanted to have something different. A lot of times you'll see videos unboxing and all that kind of stuff on just about everything, and there hasn't really been anything on the WoodMaxx on this chipper, or even any of their small chippers. So I thought, well, I'll go ahead and do that. I haven't done a boat for a while. I am drawing, finishing up the plans on what if you've ever seen the West Mersey duck punts, any of the videos on YouTube, well, I'm coming up with a stitch and glue version, actually 2 versions of them. One's a flat bottom, the East Mersey, and a V bottom like my electric motorcraft hulls with a V on the bottom, and I'm calling that the North Mersey. And instead of using the duck punts, I'm going to use the duck chucks, and for my friend Chuck down at Duckworks. So I got this morning. Nothing like waiting for a truck to show up to make you second guess, well, was this a good idea? Maybe I should have gone to the warehouse to pick it up. And it was time window between 10 and 1, and 10 o'clock it stopped raining, and about 5 minutes to 1 it started raining, and the truck shows up at 1 o'clock. So I'm out there, well, him and I are both out there in the rain, muscling this 500-pound box onto my little Snowco, which I don't think I've done anything on that yet. I'll show you that later. To get this thing onto it and then back into my shed to take it apart. I was kind of nervous. This is going to run long, but I need this pre-text to what I'm doing. And I was worried when I loaded it down onto the trailer, the whole crate system, like that's one of the panels off of it. There's 5 panels, 4 on the side and 1 on the top, and then the pallet on the bottom. And the pallet on the bottom is a non-standard size, and I was wondering, well, why couldn't the guy pick it up straight with his pallet jack? Well, then he told me, well, it doesn't fit, and I could see why. And half of it was broken off too. Plus the casing, the wood case, was shifted around and broken in on the side, and I thought, oh my God, this came all the way from New York State through many snowstorms through the Dakotas and all the upper Midwest. And I was thinking, oh, it was going to be, damaged inside. So I took off some of the things, and we were able to lift the case up off the machine, and it was okay. There weren't any punctures in the foam or the plastic wrapping that it was around. And I've already taken out. Let me go walk around this thing now. There, I've got it setting in my shed, and on my little Snowco. That's a slick little trailer. It's a tilt bed trailer. It's a 1972 Sunoco, or Sunoco, yeah, Sunoco. And that's the wood chipper sitting on top, and it was all damaged around the bottom. The top was just barely, all those panels that fitted around the side were just barely hanging on. And so then I went and we took it off, like I said, and it was okay. And so now I've been cleaning out the insides, and inside were the 2 tires and their mechanism, and the the hitch, for the 2-inch ball for this. So let me go ahead and set up again. Well, I sliced open the Saran wrap. Take that off, and then pull it off. I think they would have had it packed better. Well, when I pulled it apart. You heard that part fall. Fell down. That was the exit chute, big hoot tube. And I would have thought that they would have had a strap around there, so when you take off the foam, it's not a surprise. So yeah, I'll have to let them know about that. When it came down, it broke my taillight on the right hand side. So, and that was probably because on the far side of the pallet, one of the big blocks is missing. It probably got jammed by somebody on the way that couldn't get a regular pallet jack underneath of it and just broke it off. So the whole thing was leaning that way. So now I got to figure out how to get out this big beast, which is basically the engine and the cutting unit. It's the heaviest part. Get that down and off. So I may do that off camera, so I'm not cussing. Later. Well, I have the wheels put on, the tongue put on, and it's the next day and it's not raining, so I wanted to bring the trailer out. So I've got my wheel horse hooked up to the tongue on the wood chipper, and it's sitting on my Snowco, my 72 Snowco tilt bed trailer, and I've got it hooked up to my truck, so the trailer can't move around. So let me reset up here and I'll show you how I'm going to get it off the trailer. It's pretty simple. Trailer should have stayed down, but there's enough weight up there that it countered again, so it's pretty balanced evenly. So let me go ahead and put everything away and we'll come back again. Well, I have it in the shop. I usually use the little my Toro to bring it in. I need to put some shims underneath the ball, the silver part there. It's a little loose on the tongue. And then this frame or part here should be a little narrower because it just barely has enough threads to get the nut to hold on, but it's still really tight in here to get that thing to move around. And the other thing, let me reset up again here. One of the things I found when I was putting this bracket on, it was a little wider by a good 3/8 of an inch from what the width of this was. But down in here, it was bent in, I think, of some rattling around in the box, which I'll get to in a little bit later. So one of the things I wanted to do while I still had a lot of room around here was to install this little exhaust deflector. Otherwise it would be blowing onto the discharge chute. So I don't know how much, but I've got to go open my truck up and get my metric tools out in order to tighten that nut down. It must be about a 4mm, and I don't have one of those in here. So let me reset up. I want to show you something about the tires. When I was putting this on, this is really stiff, but it's since I've driven it around a little bit, it's loosened up. But I'm still going to pull out that Carter key and loosen the castle nut back a turn, just to see what the friction is, or well, the free play on the wheel. I think they've got it too tight. I'm kind of curious to whether or not that is get out of the sunlight here, a regular set of ball bearings or tapered roller like you'd have in a car or a trailer axle. So it'll be interesting to see what's inside. Well, I backed it off just a little bit. And I don't feel any free play, which is surprising because the nut is pressing against that washer there, and so it'll be spinning. Let me tighten that down to see if the washer stops it. No, it still goes. So it's spinning against that nut, which is really surprising. Pull this thing off and see what it gives. It's like there's some kind of O-ring that's sticking out they didn't put in right. So let me open this up. Well, I found the problem. This oil seal here was not pushed in. I saw another video this guy was putting it, and I just gave myself a blood blister. Got caught in here. Okay, it's not pushed down far enough. So now that it is down far enough, this ring will fit up against it, and it'll be looser in there. The problem I found was on this side. I don't know if you could see it here or not. They put the little ring, the spring ring that fits on the lips of the oil seal has come undone because they didn't have it back in there. I don't know if I can get it back in place when I drive this one down or not, but I had a metric, there we go here, a metric socket that the size was just right to beat on this thing. So let me go ahead and beat this one in. Hopefully I don't ruin the, well, it's not like it's a high-speed seal. And I don't know what kind of bearings, you know, they're going around in there. So there's an inner and outer, but there's absolutely no grease on the inside. So let me see if I don't ruin this. Well, it's already screwed, so. Well, I'm gonna put a little dab of grease on the shaft here. And then I'm going to put 3 pumps in there and flatten it in between the bearings. Actually, I'll use my finger to push it into the, okay. Come on. There we go. Okay. That rolls a lot better. And I think maybe I was able to save that spring since it didn't come out. Now this washer is going to set back in enough that when I put the castle nut on, I'm going to go for just a little bit of play. Only trouble is, oh, I see why. There we go. Not all the way in. Okay. And I'm far enough in on the nut to get the carter key back in. So let me play with it for a second before I do the other one. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to do the same thing, but it's completely different animal now. Yeah. Now the little bit of play, that's okay. Okay, we'll come back. Well, now that everything is fixed and the nuts back on, and the Carter case back in place, I'm getting freewheeling, and that bearing, you know, that I could have even gone in farther. But I'm getting down to where I won't have much of the way, but I'm not going anywhere high speed, so now we can just slide on the cap, and so that side's done. Let me switch over. I'll do the other side off camera. Oh well, if it's as bad as the other one, I'll show you. And as I pound in the oil seals, it's just, I don't know. It's just one thing or another. If you don't look at these things, you'll never know. Well, Yang Ming almost got it right. It's in enough over here, but it's in at an angle on that side, and this one's pushed in a little bit more. But let me be sure that they're all the way in. And this one, same thing. The on the outside, when they put them in here, the spring for the oil seal is, you know, been knocked out of place. So I'll go ahead and fix this one too. And if you're curious about what the size of this is, if for doing yours, it's 47 millimeters, or about 1 and 13/16 would probably work. Yeah. So I just did the other one, and it runs fine now. So.